Those who love me will keep my word, and my Father will love them, and we will come to them and make our home with them. That's amazing. Those who love me will keep my word, and my Father will love them, and we will come to them and make our home with them. And of course, it's describing the love of God and our love in response. Our loving Christ, Christ loving us, and the divine Creator loving us and coming to be with us. It's an amazing thing, and it fits exactly with what we know about human beings. The human beings live by love. We can only be well and whole if we are giving love and receiving love. Love is essential to human being. We know that. And yet, we find it so difficult to love. I mean, we want to love. We try to love. We're so thankful for those little tiny places where we receive and give love. But it is a struggle. And when we struggle to love, and we're not grounded in love, because that's how human being works, that's how it's made, we short circuit. I mean, it's like an appliance. It's not grounded. It's kind of a mechanical analogy for a person, but we're not grounded. We short circuit, or people come to touch us and they get shocked. So I want to share with you a thought about human being from a very favorite author of mine, a poet, author, theologian, preacher, Frederick Buechner. And he talks about human being. And bear with me, it's Memorial Day weekend. You know, this is kind of heavy. Bear with me. The biblical view of human being is contained in the first 3 chapters of Genesis. We are created to serve God by loving Him and each other in freedom and joy. And I want to pause and unpack that a little bit, because there's a word in there that doesn't seem to quite match with another word. Serve God and freedom and joy. We are created to serve God by loving. If you just stop there, it sounds a lot better. We're created to serve God by loving Him and each other in freedom and joy. Serving in this way, by loving, creates freedom and joy. That's how we're made. We are created to serve God by loving Him and each other in freedom and joy, but we invariably, pretty much always, is what that word means, choose bondage and woe. No, we don't. Nobody chooses, nobody wants bondage. But where's this going? But invariably, we choose bondage and woe. And we do things that lead to bondage and woe. Instead, as price is not too high to pay for independence, I don't want to serve. I want to do what I want to do. I mean, our sense of freedom has to do with independence, right? And doing what I want to do and what feels good to me and what seems right to me. He explains, because this is coming from the Genesis story, to say that God drove Adam and Eve out of the garden is apparently a euphemism, another way of getting at the point that Adam and Eve, like the rest of us, made a break for it as soon as God looked the other way. And we recognize that. And then Jesus says, those who love me, I'm going to give a substitute for the word love, because that gets very mushy and unclear. Those who honor me and my words, those who honor and serve me, my Father will honor and serve them. And we will come to them and make our home with them. Those who honor me, God will honor. God honors you. God honors you. God serves you. God's desire for you is that you come into freedom and joy. And God comes to work, because it says, we will come to you. We're so bad at it. We struggle so much, God makes house calls. I will come and make my home with you. I will come to you where you are. This is amazing. How does this happen? Jesus goes on to explain. The Advocate, the Holy Spirit, who the Father sends in my name, will come to you to remind you of what I've said and to teach you and leave you with my peace. It's a lot there. But the Advocate, that's another come alongside word. That's actually what the word advocate means. The Spirit of the divine being. Because Jesus is telling his disciples, I'm leaving you physically. You won't see me alongside you physically anymore. But the one the Father is sending will come alongside you, the Advocate, to remind you. Because we need reminding. To teach you. Because we need to be taught. We need guidance. To be brought into what truly gives freedom and joy. And so this made me think of a phrase. People talk about having a life coach. God is your life coach. But please, 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 never say that to anyone. I'm serious. It's so obnoxious. God is my life coach. Right? Don't say that. Do it. Don't say it. Do it. Allow God to come alongside. God does not coerce. I wish God would just fix me. God does not do that. Because God is love. Love comes alongside to remind, to teach, to lead. Because God honors us in our human being. So to allow God to coach, to come alongside, to remind us, to teach us, to show us the path that truly does lead to freedom and peace. A life that no one can take away from you, even though the external circumstances may be quite horrible at times. So I want to tell you about someone who I've mentioned, I think last year. My brother, your brother, Lou Waters. I talked a bit about Lou and his witness when he was first diagnosed with ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. And he's in a facility for folks, many who have Lou Gehrig's disease and other conditions in which they need continual care. Lou cannot breathe for himself as the muscles fail. He can't properly eat. His body's growing weak. So he's in an electric wheelchair when he's not in bed so that he can move. And at this facility, when folks come in new, they gather some folks who are able to gather, who are residents there, that they can meet one another. And so recently, I visited Lou actually yesterday, and he was telling me that he met someone, a woman who was there, brand new. And in her case, she's completely paralyzed from head to waist. But she can move her legs. And so when they were introduced to a small group, she lifted her leg up and she waved hello. So Lou lifted up his foot and said hello back. People laughed. It brought some lightness. And when they were going to leave, she waved goodbye. Lou waved goodbye. And then he motored his chair up close enough that they could shake feet. He honored her. He came alongside her in the place she was. And he served her. And in this really, frankly, terrible place, in a sense, outwardly, there was freedom and joy. And so Jesus says, those who love me will keep my words. And my Father will love them. And we will come to them and make our home with them. Wherever you are, in any place, in any time, in any condition. And I'm so thankful this weekend that we can stand here because we've been given the freedom, the external freedom, to worship, to live, follow our faith, listen to God, and be people who create not only external freedom, but inner freedom. Thanks be to God.